Excellent. That should do it. Fantastic. Let's make sure it's working. I don't know why I went British immediately. Hello. Assuming that this is going. Let me make sure it's loading over here. And it is. Okay, wonderful. And my mic, I already checked. Welcome to the very first live stream of the year. Let me make sure that I can see the chat. Sure can. Excellent. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'm intrigued to find out how many people we'll have today. I don't expect very many, as per usual, but I let everyone know that this is free today as a celebration of the new year. 2026 is here, so Happy New Year to everyone. I did put a little bit of time into thinking about like an activity that we can do as a series throughout the year over multiple live streams. And I came up with something pretty fun. You guys will sort of, some of you will not be that surprised, given that I'll give you a little sneak peek now, shown you this book before. I thought that would be I built something to do with that. Okay. Of course, we can start with magic trick to start us off, as is per the usual. And then I'll take any questions, and then we can jump right into the activity if you guys are curious about what it is. But first of all, again, Happy New Year. And I don't know why, but we decided months and months ago that we begin with a magic trick every time. And so we must continue the tradition. So here we go. Let's take a look-see here. I'm going to use the two jokers. I have a few more people that have come in here. Hi, everyone. For anyone that's new, we like to start with a magic trick because I'm also a professional magician. So we'll take this just a minute. I think there's a joker right somewhere here, I think. Excellent. And then there should be another joker. Nice. Okay, so we'll come back to these. I'll move this down even just a little bit more. We'll come back to those in a moment. I'm gonna have, let's see, if you were here, you could go ahead and touch a card. Let's say you touched this one. It's okay if I see it. It's the King of Hearts in this case. So we'll leave that sticking out of the middle of the deck so you can see me push it right in. So, excellent, you're thinking of the King of Hearts. Like I said, I'm going to use the jokers to find your card, basically. So let's grab the two jokers here. I think if we leave them right in the middle, just like this, next to each other, and give them a few seconds, I think they will have already done it. We look through the deck. Fantastic. And there's actually now one card in between, and it's that King of Hearts. Alrighty, enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get going, of course. Since I don't see any questions in the chat, let's jump right into what the activity is that I think would be fun to try. So here's how this works. So I've introduced you to this book before. It's called Dino Wars. And basically most every page... Sure, let's get... sure. Anyway, every page has a creature on it, and these creatures have basically different stats for strength, armor, speed, agility, scariness, and special skills, and then they get an overall danger level for basically the average of all of those different categories. There's a lot of problems, of course, with thinking about prehistoric animals in this kind of combat-oriented way. Part of the video that I just put out today, I had the line where I said, prehistoric animals are not monsters or aliens. They were animals, and they lived on Earth just like we do. But there's a lot of different animals in here that are sort of, some of them are very famous, some of them are very not. And so it'll give us a chance to sort of look at a lot of different creatures, as well as to learn a lot about different animals. So this is how this will work. I think, let's pull this up right now. I made a spreadsheet. So, the way this will work is we'll go one at a time, and the very first animal in the book is a little lizard. Let me find the page here, called Petrolachosaurus. And you can see, I don't really want to give away the scorings or anything, but here's the artwork, just a little lizard guy. And we can go through and put in what we think its scores should be, and then we'll see if ours match up. So, they also, one of the things that I think is kind of funny about the book is that it has a little sort of nickname for every animal. So Petrolachosaurus is the snapper. And we start with strength, armor, speed, agility. Okay, let's just start with strength. So, Petrolachosaurus, let's see what the bonus, the little sort of blurb is. It says, with its long, slender body and tail, Petrolachosaurus looked very like lizards today. It was an active hunter and spent much of its time chasing insects and other small creatures. Fantastic. So it's from North America. It's found in Kansas. It's like a foot and a half long. So it's not all that extravagant of a creature. This is the way this will work. I think is I'll just sort of monologue what I think I'd put in here, and of course y'all just throw out numbers that you think would fit here, and we'll basically all agree on something. But strength for Petrolachosaurus is just a lizard. I don't know. This seems like a 1 to me. You can go from 1 to, from 1 to 10. Armor. I mean, it's a lizard. It's a reptile. It's got scoots and things happening. It's got scales. But, I mean, maybe more armor than like an amphibian or something. But I really don't think it gets much in the way of armor. Maybe I'll give it a 2 instead of a 1, just because it has scales, which is something. Speed. It's a lizard. It's a quick guy. It's small, so of course, being as small as a foot-long lizard is, you're not going to cover a lot of ground very quickly, but you can move pretty quick relative to your size. So I'm thinking the speed would be, I don't know. What do we think? Speed. It's not a slow animal, so maybe like 5 or 6, something like that. I'll give it a 6. Agility, I think this is where Petrolachosaurus is going to do very well. I think that its agility is high, being a small, quick animal. If you ever tried to catch lizards, you know that they are agile and quick. So I might give its agility something pretty high, 7 or 8. It's not like it's hopping around or flying or something that would give it sort of extra agility points. But I'm willing to sort of give it a high score and put like 8 or something like that. Overall scariness. This is where Petrolachosaurus and most small animals that we do on here are going to do very poorly. It's a lizard. It's a pretty large lizard. 16 inches is like, a foot and a half. But I don't think pretty much anyone's being scared by a lizard. So if I don't know what else is a 1 if this isn't a 1. Any special skills? All right, so this is where I think it would be good for us to actually research the critter just a little and learn a little something to see if there's anything that we find that gives this little guy sort of an extra cool factor that we can give in terms of special skills. I'll first read the what the book says. It says that Petrolacosaurus was one of the earliest diapsid reptiles with 2 openings on each side of its skull that made its head lighter and its jaws stronger. I've shown you the little models that I have of reptile skulls, so you may already know about that. Petrolacosaurus would win every time against insects, it says, but could easily be snapped up by larger reptiles for a meal. Fortunately, it could often scuttle speedily away from its enemies. Fair enough. Such as lizards do. So this is from earlier than I thought, actually. This is a late Carboniferous, early Permian creature. So yeah, 300 million years ago. This is quite a decent ways still before the dinosaurs were around. Let's see if there's anything extra interesting that we might be able to learn. Classic diapsid skull. The limbs were long and slender in comparison to other primitive diapsids. Okay, so good agility and speed for sure. What else we have here? Classification, phylogeny. Here we go. Diet. The teeth were of moderate length, slightly recurved, and possessed no lateral compression. I don't actually. What does lateral compression mean? There's 2 larger teeth reminiscent of fangs, but it seems like mostly pretty standard teeth. Okay, very good. Nothing is screaming out to me as like an interesting special skill, although it is interesting that that it's one of the earliest diapsids, so it's kind of a fun fact. I don't know if it counts as a skill. I'd maybe give it like, wow, it says it has longer limbs relative to other early diapsids, so that's an interesting sort of more unique adaptation. So maybe like 3 or something. I'd give it maybe a 3. Okay, that calculates for us a final danger level for Petrolacosaurus of 3.5. And then and then I also added on here, as a way to sort of counterbalance thinking about animals in purely a combat kind of mechanism, that we can just sort of, based purely on vibes, give it a 0 out of 10 arbitrary coolness factor of what we think about this critter. This is not to say the lizards aren't cool, but I think this book is going to give us a lot more sort of more generally applicably interesting creatures. So Petrolacosaurus has a couple of fun adaptations and things going for it, but I'll give it a small score. And of course, y'all can ask me questions at any moment, and we'll come back to this whenever we need to. Okay, let's finish this up. I'm gonna give it a coolness factor of like 2. Okay, so let's take a look at what our next animal in the book is. So first was Petrolacosaurus. The second, oh, here we go, Edaphosaurus. So I don't want to show you their things here, but Edaphosaurus is a very famous creature. Oh, we forgot to look at what the book thought for Petrolacosaurus. Okay, let's do that really quickly. And we'll put in, so I have a different tab here for what the book's rankings are, so that y'all can see more easily. The book gave little lizardly Petrolacosaurus, jeez, can I even put that in here? A strength of 1. Okay. I think that's also what we said. Armor of 1. Speed of 7. Agility of 7. Scariness of 1. And special skills 4. So slightly different, but our danger levels end up being equivalent. They're both 3.5 calculated. So that's kind of funny. Let's read why it said special skills of 4. It says, as well as regular sharp teeth, Petrolacosaurus made use of a pair of larger canine teeth in its top jaw, ideal for impaling and killing its prey. Fair enough. Okay. So we actually agreed with the book this time around. Excellent. Well, now we're going to move on to Edaphosaurus. Y'all know this is going to be a good one. Because, of course, Edaphosaurus. Going to the Permian period, big sail-backed creature, reminiscent of Dimetrodon, but Edaphosaurus was an herbivore. A plant-eating, large animal here. Oof, my monitor over here just kicked it. I don't have an easy way to plug it in, so I'm going to pull it up on my phone. But very good. Edaphosaurus, large, lumbering Permian lizard with an amazing sail on its back. So, let's see. We start with, let's see, the book lists, it says, it wants to call it, that's funny. So without showing y'all there, the nickname is the Show-Off. So let's put that in. So, Edaphosaurus, the Show-Off. Excellent. Is this an animal y'all are familiar with? It got some good airtime in Walking with Dinosaurs ages ago, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. I think my mic just switched over. That's fine. As long as you can still hear me, it's good. Fantastic. Let me see. Okay. Edaphosaurus. Okay, strength first. What do we think for strength for Edaphosaurus? I mean, this is a big guy. Let's see how large of a critter. I'm guessing, 4 feet long, something like that. So this is a big reptile. It's not even a reptile, it's a synapsid, for the record. Description. Hoi! That's bigger than I thought. Okay, so yeah, big. Size comparison. Yeah. Okay, so the smaller one is more what I was thinking, but the big ones could get big, could get like 10 feet long. All right. Well, in that case, this has got to be a pretty high strength situation here. Not insane. I mean, there are long neck dinosaurs in here that we have to account for. So I don't know. So let's see. What should we do for strength? Any uh, any input here? I'm leaning toward like let's see. What am I thinking? Like 5, because it's not a huge animal, but like it could push me over. So I'm sort of leaning toward like a 5. I think let's do that with, unless anyone else wants to chime in. Armor. Okay, this is interesting. Does the big sailback count as armor? I mean, in some sense, sure, because it's going to work as a display factor to make the animal seem bigger than it was. So it sort of works as in that kind of sense as armor. It also, of course, just would make it trickier to get onto the back of it. Although the main predator at the time was probably something like Dimetrodon, which I'm not sure was going to be sort of biting from the top like that. So I definitely want to give Edaphosaurus more of a level of armor than 2. I don't want to put it probably over 5. Maybe 4, 5, something like that. That's what my instinct is telling me. Let's go with I don't know. My favorite number is 4, so I'm gonna go with 4. Speed. Shall we see if there's any interesting information to be learned about things like that? Description in paleobiology. Let's see. Skull, sail, growth and metabolism might be helpful for speed. So we did some bone histology.
And we found that the Dilophosaurus, being a plant eater, grew distinctly more slowly than the predator Dimetrodon. So that's interesting. Um, Slower growth rate, reflecting probably a cold-blooded animal. Um, let's see. In contrast to growth in overall body strength, so it looks like the projecting bony tubercles developed by sudden rapid growth over a few seasons, unlike the incremental growth of the tubercles in the earlier Daphosaurid, an earlier related cousin. Okay, so probably cold-blooded. Um, so its speed probably would have been rather dependent on the weather if it was all warmed up and ready to go. Um, I don't know. I bet it could move if it needed to. Definitely Dilophosaurus and Dimetrodon in the Walking with Monsters thing from ages ago could both run at a fair clip. So I would be willing to uh, I'd be willing to give it some thing for speed, but nothing crazy. Again, I don't want to give it over 5. I don't think it's that fast. Maybe 4. We gave Petrolacosaurus a 6. Yeah, so it's definitely not that fast. I'll give it a 4 again. Chime in if you think I'm making an error anywhere. All right. What about scariness? Well, I mean, come on, again, it's just big. So, like, that would. I'd stay away. I'd stay away. I'd be scared enough. I don't know if scared is the right word, but I'd stay away out of some intimidation, some fear maybe happening. It's a plant eater, again. It's not going to eat you. Um, but if we're also thinking about the context of the ecosystem at the time, most animals around, I think, would fear a Dilophosaurus, just for the sake of it being a large animal. So I don't know. I would give it some props for scariness, but not much. I'm tempted to say 4 again. I've said 4 kind of over and over. Like, yeah, a little bit of intimidation, but like I would get pretty close to these if they were around. So maybe nothing crazy. Maybe 4 would be a good scariness scale here. Oh, we skipped right over agility. I can't imagine they'd be that agile. They're pretty large, and the sail on its back would make things tricky, I would imagine. And they're still sort of very sprawling creatures. So mammals today have their limbs sort of placed nicely right underneath them. Dinosaurs did the same thing, but crocodiles and lizards and early synapsids like Edaphosaurus have their pelvis in such a way that their arms are sort of out to the side, scuttling like this instead of like this. um, so a little slower and probably less agile. I don't think this would be that agile of a creature. I'm tempted to say like 3 or something like that. Special skills, I think, is where a Dilophosaurus might shine because that big sail is so sick. The book has got to say something about that. Yes, it sure does. Okay, here we go. A Dilophosaurus's sail may have helped to control its body temperature. When it was cold, a Dilophosaurus could turn its sail toward the sun to warm the blood as it flowed through the skin on the sail. To cool down, it turned the sail away from the sun and into the wind. Yep, very, very sort of standard interpretation of what these sails would have been used for all kinds of animals with big sails. That's a pretty cool skill. That's pretty sick. It's not all that relevant to combat, but I don't care. Special skill, coolness factor. 6, 7. I can't even believe I just did that. I'm tempted to say 7. That's a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty cool thing. All right. How do we feel about how do we feel about this? Strength 5, armor 4, speed 4, agility 3, scariness 4, special skills 7, for a total of 4.5. And what do we want to give it for arbitrary coolness factor? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I feel like I'm going to be giving a lot of animals really high scores on this, but come on, it looks like Dimetrodon, which people know is a predator, but the Dilophosaurus is a plant eater. That's cool. The big sail's always cool. It doesn't have a big sail on its back. Come on. I kind of want to say like 7. It's pretty cool. Excellent. There we go. Okay. Shall we see what the book says? Let's see what the book says. So let's switch to our book ratings tab. No, hold on. Let's copy these to put over here. All righty. Do a little reading. So Adaphosaurus, aka the show-off. With the huge blood-red sail-like crust on its back, Adaphosaurus was a spectacular sight. I agree. This big, bulky animal fed on plants, which it chomped with powerful jaws lined with closely packed teeth. It has bonus feature of the sail. Very good. All right, I put strength as a 5. Okay, okay. Big, strong body and head, but there was little power in its short arms and legs. Sure, sure, sure. What did we say? We said 5? Okay, nice. Said armor of 5. I think we said armor of 4, but that's fine. Speed 1. Oi, oi. What did we say? Speed of 4? Okay, that may have been ambitious for Adaphosaurus. I don't know. They said 1. That also seems a little unfair. Still a big enough animal that could probably move. Like crocs are pretty fast. I wouldn't give a crocodile a speed of 1. All right, whatever. Agility, speed of 1, or agility of 1. Oh, geez. It says Edaphosaurus was a heavy animal weighing up to 660 pounds, 300 kilograms, and not at all agile in its movements. I think, yeah, maybe, okay. We were a little more generous than just saying 1. Scariness, 5. Okay, interesting. We said, what, only 4? I stand by that, but they say 5. Just its size combined with its colorful sail would have been enough to put off many predators. Fair enough. Special skills, 6. I think we said 7. What did we say? Yes, we said 7. Okay, 6 is fine though. Very good, very good. It says a combat history check here. This bulky, slow-moving creature was not built for fighting and preferred to stay out of trouble. Fortunately, its impressive sail would have made it a daunting prospect for most predators. Fair enough. Okay, so that makes the final danger level scoring of a 3.8, and the book did its math correctly. 3.8. Okay, so we gave it a, what did we give it? 4.5. So we gave it higher than the book did. Fair enough. Fair enough. Excellent. Okay. Well, with that, let's take a look at number 3. Ooh, okay, here we go. I'll also pause, of course, because it's almost 6:30. So if people have just general questions, anything else you'd like to discuss, we can do that as well. Okay. Well, it looks like the next page here we have. Well, that's interesting. So the next page here, while you guys are thinking of anything, if there's anything you'd like to talk about, you let me know. But while you guys are thinking, the next page is an actual battle setup it has for us here. From we're in the Permian. Well, I guess it just says Paleozoic in general, but that's fine. Moss chops versus Lysonops. So this is interesting because it doesn't actually have all of the data scoring things, so we get to do it all on our own. So shall we start with moss chops? It doesn't even give it. It doesn't even give it a nickname, so we can give it a nickname. Wait, what should we give the nickname for moss chops? We can come back to that. We can come back. Let's score it first and learn a little bit about what we're looking at here. But alrighty, moss chops. Make sure you guys can see this a little better. There we go. So this is what we're looking at. There we go. I'm a fan. They're really funny, dorky looking things. sort of big, heavy set animals from the time period just before the Triassic. Um, there's a TV series called Moss Chops. The heck? That's funny. I wonder if that's actually named after things. Uh, somebody just says it was World Fish Day the other day. What up with the fishes? I did not know that it was World Fish Day. That's nice. Well, let's go and look at a fish real quick, just for funsies, for World Fish Day. Um, let's see. What's the talked about helicoprion in one of our recent videos. Um, ooh, here's a fun fish. Da, 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 da. Stephacanthus. Yes. All right, here's your fish of the day for World Fish Day. It looks like a shark, but I don't think it's actually a shark. It's from the Devonian, I want to say. And it has like an inverse, like iron, like you'd iron your clothes with, as a dorsal fin, as a sail. So funny. And then it's really really rough on the top of that sail and on the top of its head. Uh, so that's why you'll see. Oh, it's kind of green in this paleo artist's reconstruction. Um, but just such a bizarre thing to see. That's maybe a little bit more reasonable, but still, like, what on earth is that for? How did that happen? Really interesting, I'm sure, sexual selection of some kind. Um, it's not a fish, but it is a chondrichthyon. It's a cartilaginous. There we go, cartilaginous fish. Was I right? Is it from the Devonian? Into the Carboniferous as well. Okay, cool. So it was around for a while. This article may be too technical for most readers to understand. Silly. Um, its name, chest, and then spine or thorn. Anvil-shaped first dorsal fin. Yep. Oh, excuse me. Spine brush complex. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with why it's all like spiny and weird on the top. There you go, though. Teeth and denticles. Pectoral fin whip. Uh, these fin whips contain at least 22 axial cartilages. Okay, so are these? Wait, fin whip. What is that? Is that this thing? This long sort of structure here? Whoa, yeah. Interesting. The purpose is unknown, but it's possibly used during mating. I've never noticed that before. These long extra things happening on the side. They're called fin whips. Sure. Um, looking at this piece of artwork as well, it looks like it's possible that maybe this was a sexually dimorphic trait, that to have this really bizarre um, anvil ironing board shaped dorsal structure, because there's one in the background that does not have this. I said this is probably sexual selection. That would lend credence to that, but I don't know if that's known or if that's a speculation. Interesting. Well, there you go. There's your little fish tangent. Excellent. Um, back to moss chops. So, heavily built plant eaters may have lived partly in water, as a hippopotamus does. Short, thick heads that might have competed by headbutting each other. Yeah, I mean, look at that skull. It's thick, thick boy. Um, if I remember right, the meaning of the moss chop's name is really funny. Um, does it not say? Oh, it's like it means something cow, I think, or cow something. I can't remember. Anyway, all right, here we go. So this is the animal that we're working with. Excellent. So now we need to put in our rankings. starting with strength. When we gave Moss Chops a 5, and this ant, I mean, we gave Adaphosaurus a 5. Moss Chops has got to be around the same. They're about the same size. I would think they'd be similar. We could see, yeah, it says like 8 feet long. So yeah, very Adaphosaurus sized. I'll go 5 as well. Definitely a strong thing. Maybe 6. We'll stick with 5. Armor, definitely less than Adaphosaurus because it doesn't have the big frill, not crest. What's the word I'm looking for? No, frill's the right word, I guess. Spine, whatever, on its back. Um, but it's big enough. I don't know, it doesn't really have any armor, does it? I mean, it's got the head buddy thing going on. So, but that's sort of more of a defensive thing. I don't know. I think this, I mean, the armor, I don't think it's really got any. I'd be tempted to sort of give it like a 2, like Petrolacosaurus. It's probably got thick skin, being an animal as large as it is, um, but it really doesn't have much at all going for it in terms of armor. Let's go 2. Speed, I can't imagine it moved very quickly. It looks more sort of heavy set than a Dilophosaurus, so I'd wonder if it's even slower than a Dilophosaurus. So maybe be a 3. I don't know. I think they're probably in the same area, so I'm kind of going to want to go 4 again. We could also, let's see, for agility, I think that's going to be about the same. Probably not very agile. I'll go 3. Scariness, I don't know. I have a little bit more fear. I have a little bit more. Oh, you can't see all the way over there. Uh, I have a little bit more fear of moss chops than a Dilophosaurus. I just think they're sort of stockier and bulkier. A Dilophosaurus is more low to the ground. It's the frill sort of puts in a lot of work for making it look very large. So maybe it'd be a little scarier than a Dilophosaurus, but again, it's an herbivore. That doesn't mean they're not dangerous. I'd give it space, but I wouldn't be that afraid. I'd maybe want to go 1 point more than a Dilophosaurus was. So let's go with 5. Special skills. Well, I don't know. Let's see if there's anything that the book says about moss chops. Large, powerfully built animal, for sure. Um, that's interesting. It calls them mammal-like reptiles, which is not really a term that is used anymore. I'm curious when this book is from. But they're early synapsids. 2005. This book is 20 years old. Crazy. Um, okay. Well, let's see. Mm, I don't know. It doesn't say. It doesn't give us a whole lot of information. Uh, I don't know. We can sort of poke around on the Wikipedia page for a minute and see if there's any particularly interesting thing going on here. Let's look at the paleobiology. Very well developed medullary spongiosa. Uh, and this isn't the article that says that it's too technical. Okay. Semi-aquatic lifestyle, possibly. Okay, so this is like bone histology stuff. Interesting. So possibly a hippopotamus-like lifestyle. That's kind of a special skill that it might hang out in the water. Excuse me. Hmm. But otherwise, these sort of seem like pretty standard large herbivores. Um, they do all they need to do to just sort of move around and eat the plants that are all over the place and eat as much of them as they can. Um, so I don't know. I don't have a lot to say in terms of special skills. The bone histology conclusion of a partly semi-aquatic lifestyle is pretty cool. So maybe around a 3 as well. because Petrolacosaurus had a couple cool things, but special skills, 3 or 4, maybe. I'll give it a 4. All right. So that puts us at a 3.8. Alrighty. Arbitrary cool factor. What do we think? I don't think it's as cool as the Dilophosaurus. The sail is just too sweet. But the you know what? The special skills, I might want to bump this up a little bit because of the headbutting thing. The really thick skull is pretty cool. So maybe a 5 or a 6. I'll go 6. The combination of the thick skull for a headbutting situation and the semi-aquatic lifestyle is kind of a cool combo. Okay, so it's still pretty cool. It's not as cool as a Dilophosaurus. So what do we think? Do we think 6? Do we think 5? I cannot remember the name, what its name means. I would be if its name is something that's very funny, then I would be likely to give it a 6 instead of a 5. Let's take a look. Moss-Chop's name meaning. I'm just going to Google it. See what comes up here. Oh, it does say in the Wikipedia article. That's right. Okay, I said cow. Calf face. That's pretty funny. Cow face? This thing lived, what are we talking? 300 million years, not that long ago. When is it from? 260 million years before cows, and it got named calf face. It's pretty silly. Does that help its coolness factor? Maybe. I love a good prehistoric animal etymology. I do. I'm going to say 6. All right. Dope. So now the most important question, because the book doesn't have ratings for the king. Oh, look at that. But we need to give it a nickname, right? What do we think? I mean, calf face is pretty funny as far as nicknames go. The Permian calf, Carboniferous calf. Because what I already forgot. It's in the Permian. The Permian calf. Ooh, okay. It's from specifically in the Permian. It's from the Capitanian. Capitanian calf is pretty funny. Capitanian calf. It's not an excellent. I'm gonna need to unlock this column real quick. Unfreeze so that we can open this up. It's not like a very catchy like fighter name. The Capitanian calf. But we'll go with that for now, and then if y'all have suggestions for later, we can do that. Okay, the other one on this page is Lyconops, which is a gorgonopsid. So here we go. We have our first predator. Well, I guess Petrolacosaurus was a predator. Lyconops. Also, we're going to need to come up with the nickname. Okay, strength for Lyconops. The book listed as being about 3 feet long. Although small, this reptile could move swiftly and was a fierce hunter. It probably worked in a pack, using its strong jaws and large dagger-like teeth to tear apart prey. I don't know about probably works in a pack. That seems speculative. But there's their little art. I'm a big fan of gorgonopsids. They're sick. They're really cool. Early saber-tooth things. Lyconops. And they're actually proper therapsids too. Cool. So here's what we're working with, and you can already see the limb placement is different from some of these other animals we're looking at. That it's more sort of directly underneath the body, which is going to make it a better runner. It's going to make it quicker and more agile. And you can see how it lifts it its body up off of the ground as well. And then those early saber teeth are pretty cool. Okay, South African. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't really give us a good size. That's okay. The book said 3 feet, so we're gonna go with that. Okay, okay, okay. Any anything else we should see here? Ran long legs, held close to the body. Features found in mammals, but not in more primitive amniotes. Amniotes. Uh, oh, great! This is what we were just talking about. Earlier reptiles and synapsids whose legs are positioned to the sides of the body, just like a Dilophosaurus. It's an early synapsid is a pelycosaur. The ability to move like a mammal would have given Lyconops an advantage over other land vertebrates since it would have been able to outrun them, for sure. Okay, dope. Well then, so strength. It's not as strong as these guys because it's small. But strength in terms of jaw muscles and the strong bite force, I think that's relevant here. So I wouldn't give it a 5, but 3 seems too small. I'm tempted to say 4. Armor, not good. Not good in terms of armor. I mean, having some nice sharp teeth and claws are going to help out a little bit as a sort of defensive situation. So maybe 3 as opposed to 2, but it's not really got a whole lot of armor. I think I'll say 3. Speed, this is where we're going to be off to a good start here. So we have Petrolacosaurus to 6. I think Lyconops deserves at least a 6 because it's a bigger animal too, so it's going to be able to travel, faster just in one stride than the Petrolacosaurus, the little lizard guy, is going to be able to. So, 6, 7, maybe 7. 7 just seems pretty high. But I guess that still leaves like 8, 9, and 10 for like super fast animals, which I don't think Lyconops is. Okay, that's fine. 7. Agility. This is also where the hip placement and stuff is gonna do well. So definitely more than 3. It's probably not gonna be as agile as Petrolacosaurus, just being so small and nimble. But like 7 seems fairly reasonable to me. It's still a quadrupedal. It's walking around on all fours. I think bipedal animals would get a higher agility score. Hello, hello. I should say that the chat is on a little bit of a delay for when I see it. So thanks for the hello, and I'm sorry I missed it until right now. I don't know when that came in. But let's see. Giving an agility rating for Lyconops. I don't know. I wouldn't say 8. That seems really high. Maybe like a 7 though, because it would have been pretty agile, pretty quick little guy. It's not huge, so it's not like it's super heavy and it's going to be sort of weighing itself down. Again, y'all can jump in whenever you want, but I'm tempted to say like 7 for agility here. Scariness, okay, great. Even though it's smaller than Moschops and Dilophosaurus, which are pretty large animals, those are herbivorous and Lyconops is not. I'm going to be more scared of the predator, even if it's 3 feet long as opposed to 10 feet long. The predator with canines that are like some of the early fangs, some of the early saber teeth, I'm going to give that more space. It's faster too. I want to stay away. So scariness, definitely above a 5. I'm tempted to say 7 again because it's not like terrifying like 8, 9, 10 like a big dinosaur would be or something. Is 6 too low? I don't know. Six is still like, yeah, it's scary. So maybe I want to say six. Six, I think either seven or six. Um, hello, hello. A couple more people coming in. We're at the tail end of the live stream, but we're basically giving some ratings, going through my one of my books and giving ratings to the animals in here to see how well ours match up with the sort of combat rating systems that the book gives. So, Lycinops scariness, what do we think? Seven or six? I'm, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards six just because it's pretty small. It's pretty small. I'll go six, but I could be persuaded otherwise. That gives an overall danger level of 5.5. Okay, it's our best so far. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that that's the highest one so far. It's the first real predator. Um, oh, I forgot special skills. I put in six for scariness, then forgot special skills. I mean, it is one of the earliest like saber-toothed animals, or one of the first saber-toothed predators. So it's pretty sick. And for not being a true mammal, being a therapsid, but having the hip placement to have those legs underneath it to be a sort of a good runner, being a quick and agile little guy. I don't know. I think the special skills. I gave a Dilophosaurus a seven because the sail is so sick. I'm tempted to say seven or six here as well. The seven, maybe seven. Let's go seven again, I think, because of the really early saber teeth is pretty cool. Okay, so 5.6. There's got to be a way in here to tell it what's like the uh, maximum number of decimal points that I want it to go. I'll look at that after. Okay, arbitrary cool factor. I still think a Dilophosaurus is cooler. Six. I would give Lycinops a six. I mean, the name Lycinops sounds really cool too. And I'm just such a fan of the Gorgonopsids. I really am. I don't know why, but like uh, Strontidia. We don't have we don't have one of the largest in Ostrancedia in this book, which would be even scarier. And uh, yeah, I mean, come on, that's terrifying. I'd stay away from that. But I think they're so interesting. Permian age therapsids, so early, like almost, they're not true mammals yet, but they're in the same sort of bigger category with like really early saber teeth. It's pretty sweet. All right, maybe I want to say seven as well. Maybe I want to say seven as well. Let's do it. Let's put a seven. All right, cool. Okay, what do we think for the nickname? Because the book gave us Snapper and Show Off, but we it doesn't give us one for Lycinops, so we gotta do it on our own. The saber teeth. There's got to be something. You could call it the saber tooth, but that's just. It could be more creative than that, you know. It could be more creative than that. What does Lycinops mean? Let's look at what the name means. Wolf face. Okay, I guess we should have known that from the sort of the way that the ends, because moss chops meant calf face, and then lysin ops, and then that makes sense. Lice like uh why what do I know? Um, Lysin. I feel like there's like a mythological creature that's like wolf that has that stem root word in it or something. I don't know, but wolf face. Okay, that's pretty cool. You could call it the wolf. The howler maybe is kind of cool. You could call it the howler, even though they probably didn't howl. That's a wolf thing, but in reference to the name, the howler. I don't know. What I have in mind. So we'll go with that for now. Howler. Alrighty. And with that is 6:55. All right, so we got 5 minutes left. So again, I'll sort of pause for 30 seconds just in case people have questions, anything else that you're curious about. Um, or would like to research. And I'll put the book away for now. Thank you to the person before that said that it was recently, what did they say? National Fish Day or something? It was World Fish Day the other day. So if there's any questions, of course, we can spend the last few minutes looking at one of those. Otherwise, maybe I'll show you another cool fish in memory of the recent World Fish Day. Let's see. What would be a cool fish to finish us out for the last 3 or 4 minutes? Any fish recommendations? For some reason, the first one that I thought of is called Onchopristis. So let's take a look-see. Whoops. Onchopristis, which is a gigantic sawfish from the Cretaceous period in northern Africa. Ta-da! I guess you guys probably know what a sawfish looks like. But what makes Onchopristis interesting for the layperson is the size. A length estimate 10 to 14 feet or 7 to 10 feet. Such individuals would have weighed like 150 to 330 pounds. I guess I don't know how big modern sawfish are, but I can't imagine that they're over 10 feet long. You imagine a 13-foot long sawfish? I'd stay away. Sawfish. How big do you guys get these days? I don't know. Are you freaking kidding me? Did you know this? Oh, that's a strong way to end the stream. I'm glad I looked this up. I don't know. I definitely thought they could get pretty large. I would have said 8 feet max, something like that. Which is why, like, Onchopristis, the giant, I always think of it as being a giant sawfish, being like 14 feet long max, seems huge to me. But modern sawfish get to bloody 20, 25 feet long. Unbelievable. Holy hell. Well, that's crazy. Huh. News to me. Which are the biggest ones? No, that's not all that like makes an animal interesting as being huge, but that does surprise me. Wow. Look at this. I mean, yeah, I guess if you can imagine something like that, I can imagine like a fish like that getting to 20 feet long, which would make the saw like what, 4 feet? 4 feet long? Jace. It's a big old freaking saw nose. Right? Cool. Happy World Fish Day. That's astonishing to me. So there we go. There's a reasonable, oh, it's a juvenile. And it's a small tooth. Huh. Cool. Okay, I got one more minute to just show you one more last cool fish. One more last cool fish. I just thought of Hybotus. Extinct shark. I think it's a shark. At least it looks like a shark. Cool shark from the Jurassic. maybe other times. I think of it as being a Jurassic shark. Um, there you go. What does Hybotus mean? Crooked tooth. That's kind of cool. Good shark name. Nice. Alrighty. Well, with that, it is 7 o'clock, so it's been an hour. Thanks to all of y'all for hopping on. I'm surprised I haven't said this until the very end, but you can, if you're not a Patreon member, you can join for literally $1 a month and hop on a live stream like this once a month or twice a month, depending on what tier you join. I'm happy to always just research whatever, talk about whatever, and then we have the good old dinosaur wars ranking system as something that we can do when y'all just want to sort of come and hang out. Um, Dope. Happy New Year again. Thanks for being here, and I hope you have a lovely Thursday evening. I'll see you guys later.